Greetings and welcome. I'm Dave Steckel, and I'm reading from my book, Big Dave's 5 Minute Stories. Today's reading is called PT Drivers, the letter P, the letter T, and it has a preface. I live in the little town of Sequim, Washington, which is out on the Olympic Peninsula, and wrote uh, this piece for the Sequim Writers Group, which is important here. You may or may not need to know for this story that in Sequim, the town of Port Townsend in Jefferson County, about 20 miles from Sequim, is commonly nicknamed PT. We also have Port Angeles close by, which we oftentimes call PA. So that gives you a little bit more ready reference to how I compose these accounts. PT drivers. I'm a driveaholic. What that means is I am one who loves to be behind the wheel, driving my car wherever. Exploring new places is a total treat for a driveaholic. The perpetual explorer in me never fully abated, ever wistful wanderlust. So, visiting Portugal for the first time in 2023, the car became the best way to tour. Arriving in Faro after 8 p.m., when the car rental would be closed, they still waited for us, even picking us up from the airport in their company van. After 10 days in the Algarve and another 2 weeks of driving after Lisbon, I found out a few things about PT drivers. And you thought I was talking about Port Townsend drivers, didn't you? Number one, they love their horns. The smallest driving infraction can get you honked at. For all the chatter about the laid back lifestyle of the Portuguese, they somehow lose any calmness when they drive. If you're not going as fast as a person behind you thinks you should be going, they drive up to 3 feet off your tail. Fast roads, slow roads, every single lane road begets the same tailgating behavior. Then when you pull over to let them pass, they honk at you, not to say thank you, but because you almost caused the accident by moving off the road too close to them as they tailgated you. Of course, they often yell at you. For me, illegibly, I could get the drift of their dissatisfaction by their tone, but still not be offended by their words. Even better, just because I couldn't understand them, there are a bunch of English-speaking locals in Portugal, so I'm pretty sure they could often understand my loud retort. Yeah, yeah. I'm glad to say that the horn honking clearly reduced after a few days, not because I became a better driver, but because I learned to match their aggressive craziness on the roadways. I've driven in most of the biggest cities in the US. Lisbon drivers made me far more nervous. They commonly perform wedge between stunts at high speeds on very narrow roads that were not designed or built originally for cars. A great many of the roads are still tiled as well as the sidewalks. If you ever wanted to sing vibrato, Lisbon and Porto will get your vocal cords bouncing like tensile bungee cords. Guys, you ever wanted to sing soprano? Those street vibrations will get your pants running up against your crotch admirably. In Portugal, almost everyone drives stick shift. I'm guessing it's the Portuguese rite of passage, or 80 to 85% of the Portuguese are control freaks. Don't want no tranny telling me how to drive. Coffee. As so much of life is connected in ways not always observed, things sillier than guns and butter graphs in economics class, I found the espresso as the coffee of choice. None in Portugal, none of the venti caramel macchiato latte crap. That takes too darn long to consume in Portugal, where one has to constantly shift gears. Down your espresso in seconds. The caffeine kicks in, and you find yourself driving like threaded needles at Mach 1. Finding a parking place in the bigger cities. No wonder they have so many churches and cathedrals in Portugal. Praying for a parking slot has to be a daily devotional to survive. If you do not find a place to place your car, get out, kneel on the uneven tiled sidewalk with prayerful thanks, then visit the little station each block offers to pay homage. Load it with your coins of devotion. You will not get a receipt to place on your dash, but also you will not only get a receipt to place on your dash, but also a lit little votive candle. Parking patron saints are optional. Now we all can love our GPS, and driving around abroad is no exception. But PT also offers human GPS. While still in search of a place to park, you'll suddenly see a man appear standing in the middle of the street. He was not there the other dozen times you drove around that neighborhood making your rounds. He still somehow ID'd your car apart from all others, recognizing your search for a parking spot. He will hand signal you, "Come on, I kept this spot open for you." And lo and behold, a place to park miraculously appears. Hallelujah! You're so thankful you toss him a couple euros for his troubles. These parking gurus exist all over PT. Anywhere there is bumper to bumper traffic. One such man even gave me 30 cents in euros to complete my parking donation after he directed my car. I'm still sad I could not find him again to pay him back with interest. Then, as soon as you leave, they reappear to direct another grateful driver. In some places, they literally park on the city sidewalks, or if a short-term stop is required, such as to drop off or pick up, they just stop in the lane to back up all traffic for who cares how far. In Porto, we had a rare 15-minute parking lane across the street from our Airbnb. It could accommodate up to 3 cars, which was often parked in much longer than the time limit. Twice, we saw some guy park behind the trio of cars already there. That fourth spot covered part of the crosswalk. Worse, they blocked the buses from turning onto our street, so they would honk long and hard and with purpose, except the horns on the buses are really wimpy. They're similar to old VW Beetles. Beep, beep, beep. Then even more buses arrive, also blocked by the half-turned bus. So join the honk chorus. Cars line up as well, of course, to add to the cacophony. The cars are not typically bound to a direction of travel like the buses, so they can eventually go around, but many seem quite content to join the honking choir, and as I said, the PTers love their horns. When the offending delivery driver finally returns, he's warmly greeted. Correction. He's hotly treated with more honks and angry voices, all demanding their turn to slander him as they pass him by. Stupido was the only word I understood. Next part, motorcycle madness. Then there are the motorcycles. Talking to other Europeans, I understand this style of driving is common and accepted throughout most of Europe. Any two-wheeled vehicle, from a small electric stand-up scooter to regular scooter to full-sized motorcycle, can drive between any cars or trucks, on the lines, left side, right side, whatever. It was you were moseying along some packed city street when a delivery scooter with an insulated box on the back flies past you. Sometimes you foresee them coming in your mirror, but just as often, no, you do not. It was a bit startling at first, and occasionally thereafter, I saw a cop stopped at a light. A motorcycle with rider pulled up right along the inside, taking position in front of the cop to lead the pack after the light changed. Usually, I prefer the cops to be in front of me rather than behind me, but for the 2,000 kilometers I drove throughout Portugal, I never saw anyone pull over for a traffic violation. I never saw anyone who was pulled over for a traffic violation. I saw cops at only one accident in that entire month. All amazement to me, an amazement to me all its own with how tightly knit everyone drives. You could share your lunch with the car next to you if you wanted. It's not just the high cost of petrol that compels people to drive smaller cars. Then there are the toll roads. All major highways in PT are toll roads. You can pay as you go or get a Verde Via pass, similar to the Go Pass to cross Tacoma Narrows, but these are much more expensive. I spent €100 just on tolls while I was there. Returning the second car we rented, I asked the attendant what was the most he had seen spent on highway tolls. Over €200, he said. Of course, you can tell your GPS to avoid toll roads. We did at first. You'll often add significant minutes to your trip. But when you're a tourist exploring, that's not a bad way to go. On the other hand, sometimes the GPS takes you to single wide two-way streets or even dirt roads. Your GPS calls it quote unquote unknown roads. Some of those unknown roads have signs with two arrows, one pointing down and the other pointing up. One arrow is black or white and the other is red. If the red arrow is on your side of travel, you have to stop and make room for any oncoming cars to pass. To pass. The arrows changed sides quite often, which was quite an intriguing driving arrangement. And no report on PT drivers would be complete without mentioning the roundabouts. If you do not like roundabouts, do not visit Portugal. They made roundabouts part of their national treasure. They also double as useful alternatives to speed bumps. Not that PT has any shortage of speed bumps. In many towns, their tiled crosswalks double as speed bumps. The tiles are even colored off-white and off-black, so patterned like the crosswalk stripes. But back to the roundabouts. The N125 highway across the Algarve must have over 100 roundabouts. No exaggeration. In Porto and Lisbon, some of the roundabouts even have traffic lights, which kind of defeats the convenience of a roundabout. Finally, some roundabouts seem to be designed to cut off drivers, i.e., giving PT drivers another opportunity to honk. Many roundabouts are given these artistic attempts by the Portuguese Department of Transportation. Many have statues or monuments in the middle. The Portuguese love their statues. Other roundabouts have varying styles of modern sculptures. One in Lagos looked remarkably like lots of white dining room chairs. I'm serious. One in Porto looked completely unfinished, a brown flat-topped structure with four steeply sloped legs. Just plain and weird. And if I could even compare it to art. It just about covered the entire roundabout. For us touristas, roundabouts conveniently double as U-turn opportunities, particularly after the GPS instruction was violated. Also, pedestrians always had right of way. Drivers would block cars on the roundabout to stop for pedestrians crossing. It was admirable in its own way, though sometimes more dangerous from a good driving standpoint. They'd wait all day to let you walk in front of them, and they never seemed upset about it. It was really kind of cool to see. The Portuguese considered yielding to pedestrians a treasured part of their lives. They'd wait all day, and then the drivers would speed away with a vengeance, like they had to try to catch up with themselves. Here's a clear block. We should be able to reach 149 kilometers per hour, which is 88 miles per hour, before the next stop. Oh, my Allstate Auto Insurance Good Driver app. I checked the trips. I went back and checked the trips I took. If I stopped suddenly, I put that I was the passenger for that trip. The app also recorded my driving had been too fast when I rode the trains. We're talking 150 plus miles an hour. Fortunately, I could tell the app I was on a train. Oddly, the app will ding me for using my phone while driving, but there's no provision provided if Amy used my phone while I drove. I had to tell it others for such trips. So between roundabouts, pedestrian yields, deciphering road signs, changing kilometers to miles per hour, lack of parking, speedy drivers on your butt, and lots of horns honking, the experience was truly enlightening and a new adventure. Just like you can teach an old drivaholic new trick, Dave can relearn to drive in Portugal. Next time, I may try driving in London. Okay, I've been reading from my book, Big Dave's 5 Minute Stories. That one's a little bit longer than the 5 days, I understand. And next one's called Heart, Mind, and Soul. And you can get a copy. Got a link down below. I can talk. I have the link down below. So thank you for viewing in, and hope to see you again. God bless you.